No. Okay, so welcome to those who are going to be joining us online. Very briefly, I'm Siobhán Mulcahy, I'm the County Arts Officer, so we're just going to do a very brief walkthrough today of the bursary applications that we have for artists. So I'm just checking now. Share. Double checking now that you can see that on the screen. Yeah, great.
Perfect.
Excellent. Lovely, so we can get going. So this is, as I say, the YourSay platform, Clare County Council, and you'll see by just clicking down through it that the council are using this for numerous consultations, application forms, public engagement as such. So some of you will be familiar with this if you're involved in our Artist in School scheme, etc., or if you're commenting on the Thrive project here in Ennis, you'll have found your way through this as well. So just while I'm here, I'll give a very brief plug also to the Percent for Art scheme that we have out in the Inishcaltra visitor experience in Mount Shannon, and also our Prism Street art scheme is open as well at the moment. But today, for the purposes of today, we're looking at the Creative Bursary scheme. So I'm just going to click in here. Lovely. So this will give you the information on the Creative Bursary scheme. But just to note from the very off, there is no problem with you going in and having a look at the scheme and the information, etc. But at this stage, you cannot make an application for it. You must be signed in. So just up here in the top right-hand corner, you'll see there's a sign in and a register. So just to avoid any confusion, this is basically the website. You'll get all the information there, but to actually physically make the application, you must be signed in. You can either sign in as a guest or you can register and then just keep your password, your details for future applications, etc. that might be coming up on the platform. But whether it is as a guest or whether you register, you must be signed in to physically make the application. So just want to do that. So I'm just going to sign in here so that you'll see what you'd be asked for your screen name and a password. If it's your first time, you have to register obviously and generate a password for yourself. I get to press this button because I'm staff, but it will bring you to the same page. Yeah, so it brings us back to the page that we were on previously, and we're going to click on Creative Bursary Scheme here again. So these are the guidelines to the scheme. So we've tried to keep it as simple as possible, and we're looking at basically offering supports to artists, both established artists and what we're calling emerging artists. As well, so it's a mix of those who are who may be more experienced or may have more who may have done more in the arts, but we're also looking to establish artists who are emerging or who are interested in becoming, and we've used the term emerging rather than young because we do appreciate that people come to the arts at different stages in life as well. So we just people who might be starting out on their journey or not as far along maybe as some of the others. So you'll see when we look at the actual application form, you are assessed on what you have done to date, but you are also, if you are somebody who is starting out or not long on the journey, we do look at potential as well. So just to make that clear that one doesn't negate the other as such. It's linked up with our arts plan, which we commit to providing open and accessible opportunities for all to offer strategic connections or strategic support for artists, and then the general one of continuing appreciation and development of the arts. So there are two strands to the scheme. You can only apply to one. So the first one, strand one, is creative bursaries for community members. So what we mean by this are members of the community who might be actively involved or engaged in the arts. So it could be people who are involved in amateur drama. It could be young people who are doing traditional music and who want to upskill maybe by going to summer schools, etc. So it's for those people who are participating in the arts. And then strand two is specifically for arts practitioners, artists and creatives who are earning income, be it full-time, part-time, across the board, across all art forms. So they're two very distinct strands. If anybody's unsure what strand they fit into, they can just contact us in the Arts Office, and we'll be happy to guide them as to what's the best fit for what they're looking to do. But we don't envisage artists applying for strand one specifically for the community members. We do see that as being for people out in the community who might be, as I say, engaged in a variety of activities within the community or the amateur sector. So the first one, just very briefly to go down through this, the creative bursaries for community members. A lot of what's in this will apply to the artist one as well, so I won't need to repeat it as such. So only one application per, what we say here, event or school will be successful in relation to this particular strand. So if we have 3 people who are applying, for example, to the Bloss Summer School in this instance, unless we don't get a lot of applications in, but it's our intention at this time that we would be supporting one person to go to the Bloss Summer School. We would be supporting one person to go to the Mehel Summer School. So that, as I say, but it is hard to know that until we actually get the applications in and we see where the lean is, or we'll see how many are looking to go to the various things. So we welcome applications from individuals, regardless of age, from the community, amateur or voluntary sectors. Previously, what we have done is we have supported things like the Irish Youth Choir Summer School. We have supported things like the Drama League of Ireland Summer School, and quite happy to consider those again. Potential items could be traditional Irish music summer schools, attendance at drama workshops, writing workshops, visual arts workshops, and they don't necessarily have to be in Clare. So I just want to be clear about that. They could be national, either being run by national organisations or taking place outside of County Clare, and that is the same for the artist scheme as well. So it's not limited. While the scheme is limited to applicants from Clare, where you go to do your work, it doesn't have to be limited to Clare. So that's kind of the creative bursaries for community members. The strand 2 then is the creative bursaries for arts practitioners. So we try to interpret this as broadly as possible, because we realise that artists across various disciplines have various needs. So we do recognise that as well. So what we have put down here are suggestions. It's not limited to. There may be something that's specific to you or your practice at this particular point in time that's not listed here, and that's absolutely fine. We're not saying that this is all we are going to assist with. So we're going to assist with the cost of materials and equipment up to a limit of €500 will apply, and these will be paid out then to applicants on the receipt of paid invoices and receipts. And so there's the potential of applying for up to €500 there. There's the assistance with the cost for professional development. So that could be attendance at courses, residencies. There's been a number of questions about the Tyrone Guthrie bursary. So we've basically subsumed that into this scheme now, just trying to streamline everything together. So if you're interested in going to the Tyrone bursary, the first port of call is to make the application here. If you come through this, we will then contact the Tyrone Guthrie Centre to say, this is our nomination for this year. So that's the way that it just streamlines things. So in this event, for the materials and equipment, obviously we will pay the artist directly on receipt of receipts and paid invoices. In the case of professional development, we will pay the course or the Tyrone Guthrie Centre or whoever it is directly for your participation on that. So there's no financial transaction in that instance between us and the artist. We deal directly with the organisation. So that is why it is a bursary. We pay the organisation directly for you to attend. So travel to attend events, we will consider it, but it really will be only in exceptional circumstances. So it really does depend on, I suppose, the amount of applications we have, the budget that we have. So if it is the case that you're looking to travel to apply to something, you might give some consideration to that. We may not be able to assist with the travel and subsistence costs, but we may be able to assist with the actual cost of the stay per se, or the course, etc. The third element then is assistance with research and development. So things like research trips, paid arts development days, etc. We are open to all of those. And what we mean by paid art development days is basically days that you are creating your work. So, you know, if you say that I need 2.5 days in my studio, you know, I'm paying myself €200 a day to work in my studio. 2.5 days equals €500. So it's basically, I suppose, a support for the time and space for you to do what it is you do in terms of the actual creating. Now, we do say here we pay to applicants on receipt of paid invoices and receipts. If you're looking to do maybe a research trip up to the National Library or the National Gallery or somewhere like that, there will probably be receipts, you know, for travel, etc. So we would look to submit them. So, but if it is a case that you're just looking to get paid for your time and your creativity, a simple invoice from you to us will suffice. So just to be clear about that. And previous things that we have supported are art materials, payment for creation days, Tyrone Guthrie Centre. We have supported artists to go to do courses and workshops at the Byrne College of Art. We mentoring with the Irish Writers Centre, and attendance at national and international specialist professional development workshops. When we say workshops, it could be network events as well, gatherings. So we're really, you know, it's a very, very broad, is what I would say. Anything that is going to specifically support your own development as an artist, we're happy to consider that. We listed a couple of things here that we got queries on and put them in, but so potential items would be the maybe Theatre Forums gathering in May in Limerick. There's been some interest in that. Somebody was asking about the Cultural Centre Irlandaise in Paris. So yeah, we're happy to consider that again. And all of these, the bursary at the Tyrone Guthrie Centre, will be based on the strength of the application that's made to us and the rationale for going to these places as well. Children's Books Ireland have a bursary scheme at the Tyrone Guthrie Centre as well, as do, there's a number of organisations that have come on with these schemes now. Bealtaine have one as well for older artists. So in all those cases, we would deal with both, you know, Children's Books Ireland and the Tyrone Guthrie Centre or Bealtaine, etc. So yeah, so as I say, we're just keeping it as open as possible to respond to your needs or what you have identified as needs. In some cases, it's the artist's responsibility to apply to the relevant organisations in advance of making an application. So, for example, if it is a case that you are looking to go to, we'll say, the gathering in Limerick, there may be an application form for that. It is your responsibility to apply and to say you have been accepted, or if there was some professional development course, we would need to see some proof that you have been, that you have at least made an application, or ideally that you have been accepted on it. And it really, from our perspective, it just speeds things up completely if things are very clear that you have been accepted, this is what you want to do, and it's straightforward then. We do appreciate that everything has different deadlines, everything has different criteria for acceptance. We do appreciate that, all right, and we're happy to work with you and the organisations to realise those things. But the simplest for us is if you have a letter saying, I have been accepted on this course, and we just contact the course and go, we're going to pay so-and-so's fees. That's the simplest way, but it doesn't always work out like that. But again, we are happy to support you as best as we can in doing that. So just very briefly, bursaries are open across all art forms. Applicants must be living in County Clare. It's not enough to be from County Clare, you must be physically living in the county. Creative practitioners should be listed on our artist showcase. And for those who are under strand one or applying under strand one, then the community members, and they must submit, as I say, proof from the organisation that they've been accepted onto the course. A reference from maybe if it was a musical society, the chairperson of their society, or if it's a young person, maybe a reference from their teacher, just something to show that these people are, I suppose, showing potential and deserve, the investment from the local authority in terms of what they're giving to their community, or maybe their potential for becoming an artist in the future. So that's what we're kind of looking for there. All activities must be completed no later than November 20th. So we appreciate things happen at different times during the year. We have deliberately pushed this out as far as we can. We need to have the invoices in and the payments gone through for our end of year accounts. So we have to be really strict on this. If it's not in everything T's crossed and I's dotted by the 20th of November, the funding will not be paid. So just to be very clear on that, instead of asking for you to have it in September, we have extended it as far as we can, but there are no further extensions that can be granted. That's the very last date that we have in terms of Christmas pay runs, etc. If you are successful, we just look for a short testimonial as to how the bursary has assisted you. So it could be in terms of the materials and, that you created new artwork, if you attended a course, if you found it valuable. And sometimes it's fine to say as well that, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, or if I was doing it again, I'd do it a different way. That's absolutely fine. And that's all feedback, obviously, for us as well. So we're not looking for people to come back necessarily and go, oh, it changed my life. We don't expect that at all. But just a little bit of feedback on what worked, because, and particularly if it is criticisms or observations maybe of the course that you did, that can be fed back in maybe to other artists down the line that are coming up, that we know somebody went to this and this was their experience, so maybe we could look at doing it a different way. Or so it's just about that. But we do look for some feedback in terms of the support that has been given. Ideally, all recipients must provide proof of how they've been supported by the Arts Office. So that could be just something on social media if you're putting up a post, just to thank Clare County Council. If you're working towards an exhibition, that maybe the logo would be attached to it. We're not overly formal, we're not overly prescriptive on it, but we make the case every year to the council for funding. So it's nice for them to see that the funding is being acknowledged as such, and it's important for them to see it as well. Positive weighting will be applied to applicants who demonstrate barriers to participation. So if you feel that you have a particular barrier to participation, be that financial, be it an access barrier, put it into your application. It's not going to be shared, and it's not going to be, it would be taken into consideration. So just to outline it, you can give as much detail or as little detail as you want. But, if there's something in particular that has impacted on you this year, or just in terms of your practice, do let us know that, because the panel will be can take that into consideration. Again, we're quite happy for previous bursary recipients to reapply, but I suppose we're trying to kind of spread the resources that we have as well. So we would be prioritizing maybe those who haven't previously received bursary support. But to be fair, this normally balances out. There's a scoring system in place. The allocations are made on the balance of the scoring system, but I suppose it's just that we would be cognizant of if the same people are getting the same supports all the time, we would be trying to mix it up there as well. So it can lead to very interesting panel discussions when we're looking at trying to weigh up all these things in terms of who gets what as such. So look at, in terms of the assessment, as I say, it's all there, it's very clear. So we look at your track record or the potential of the applicant. What's really important to us is what you hope to achieve with the bursary and how important it is to your development. So we're looking for bursaries that will actually make an impact rather than it just being sort of an annual grant that you get and you just use as such. So we're kind of looking for those artists who will say, at this point in time, I'm specifically working on, and this is why it's important that I get this support at this particular point in time. So that just needs to be very clear in your application. You have to remember that the panel who are assessing these probably have no connection or familiarity with you or your work. So they're coming to it, very cold. So please don't make the assumption that, oh, they know what I do. I'm doing it for the last number of years, or, I've been working in this field for so long, they must know what I do. New panel, new eyes, new ears as such, listening to what comes off the page. So just to keep that in mind, you're not talking to Siobhán or to Carmel. It will be, an independent panel that is looking at the work. Again, very conscious that one size doesn't fit all. And, if there's something that you're not clear about or you're unsure about, let us know. But we will try to be as open as possible in terms of the work that we are doing. So that's kind of the guidelines and the criteria. And just very basically, this you'll see here as we're going down through the screen again. So strand 1, it just gives the same, what we've kind of gone through again. And just to go in, I'm just going to show you what the form looks like. And this isn't to be patronizing or anything, but really it's if people, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, and if there's something that we might need to change the language around or whatever, it's a good opportunity for us to hear back from you on this. So very simply, name, address, telephone number, and email. What art form you're involved in. And then this is for the community arts one, please outline your experience involvement in the arts. So that really is just to give us a sense of who you are and what you've been doing and how long you've been doing it. It's not a case of going, I've been involved for 30 years or I've been involved for 6 months. It's just to give us a sense of, if you're only recently getting involved, what has drawn you to it, that type of thing. This one then is to let us know what the course or event is that you wish to attend and why. So, I want to go to the Drama League of Ireland Summer School because it's a great networking opportunity and I get to meet other people and upskill. It's that kind of just why it is that you want to go to this course and event. And then these are the specific details. So keeping with the example maybe of the Drama League of Ireland Summer School, I want to go and attend course C, which is being run by this particular drama facilitator. I particularly want to do this because I'm interested in learning how to direct, or I'm interested in training members of our amateur drama group in stage management techniques. So you're getting into the nitty gritty in this one really as to why you want to attend this specific course or networking event, etc. So it sounds like there's a little bit of duplication here, but this really is a lot of the courses or events, they actually do give very specific information, and that's what we are associated. Thanks, Carmel. I think this is just the course, the event, the costs that are associated with it. In the one that we spoke about, the artists, we had said materials, grants, art stays, etc., research trips, they're capped at €500. But if you're looking to attend a course or event, again, we appreciate that some might be less than €500, some might be more than €500. Put in the cost of the course or event. If possible, we will try and cover it all. If it's more than €500, if it's less than €500, it's great because it frees up money for other to be allocated to other artists. So to put in the actual costs, and that really, if you're providing a letter from the organisation, it should state that clearly what costs are involved, so that there's no ambiguity around what the costs are, so we can do our budgets, etc. as well. Upload a document with samples of your work or links to your work. So if you're a musician, you might have, some clips on social media, or, just to send them through to us so we can get a sense of who you are, what you are doing. And then your letter here of proof of acceptance. If you don't have a proof of acceptance, maybe proof of applying, and to combine them into one document and to submit it. And then these are just the general declarations. So that's that would be for the community supports one, similar, or for creative bursaries for community members. The artist one is very, very similar. I'll just go back. So we'll go to strand 2 now for the arts practitioners one, and we'll go into the form. So again, we'll have covered a lot of this already. So have you read the criteria? The name, address, telephone number, email, etc. Are you registered on our artist showcase? Upload your CV. Obviously, if you're an artist working in that field, to upload your artist CV. Provide an artist statement about your work. Again, this is really important for the panel who may not be familiar with who you are or what you are doing. So doesn't need to be overly long, but I suppose just a concise statement about what you are doing, what your areas of interest are in terms of the artwork you're creating, etc. What art form you are involved in. So again, that's just traditional arts, drama, visual arts, etc. And then number 10, outline what you are applying for and why it would benefit you in your arts practice. So this is the opportunity that you have to make the case as such for what it is you are applying for, and to give as much detail or as little detail as you want on that. But obviously, while we're not looking for tomes, it's sometimes actually less is more, because it shows that you have clarity of purpose and what you are looking to do. But you can take as much or as little time here as you want to explain what it is and why you want to do it. And then we just ask you general tick box what exactly it is you are applying for. This really is just for us at the back end to kind of see where the areas of interest are, in terms of the demand on the resources that we have. How much are you applying for? So as we had said, research materials equipment is €500 max, but residency and courses, we do know that they will be different depending on the course providers. So put in what the full amount is. We will try and pay for those who are successful the full amount, but sometimes it may be a case that we can only offer maybe a part payment, but we would work that out with you and the organisers if it was a case. But we do try to cover as much as possible where possible. So then this is just a breakdown of the costs associated with your application. So for some people it will be very simple. It costs me €400 to go to the Tyrone Guthrie Bursary Centre. That's it. It's very simple. But if it is a case that you're looking at going to maybe art days, you might want to put a figure on how much you're going to pay yourself for the day, be it or hourly, etc. So for some people it may be, there might be a little bit more involved in this, but just what I would say again is to be as clear as possible in terms of the panel looking at what it is. Again, supporting documentation, upload a letter of confirmation, if applicable, if you have it. Upload one document with samples of your work or links to your work if you don't have a website. So to upload a file there, and then the declaration as well at the end. So that is it. We have, as I say, the feedback so far has been very positive, and that people feel it is clear and concise, and we're literally only asking for the minimum amount that we need to make a judgment, that there's no kind of fluff being asked for as such, that it's literally what the panel would need to make an assessment. But happy to take any questions that you have. So if anybody, I don't know, Carmel, you can probably see, I'll stop sharing this and maybe I can see more then on on my screen. But if there's anybody who has any questions,
Yeah, so there's one or two came in. So read the
yeah,
cutoff date of 20th November. There could be a waiting list for 2025 at this stage for the Tyrone Guthrie Centre. They are exceptionally busy.
so,
Applicants have to indicate first preference dates and then other date preferences. No
yeah.
extension on the completion date means T
No, it
Tyrone
doesn't. No, I'll just clarify this. So normally we're fully aware of that. We've been offering Tyrone Guthrie bursaries for the last 20 plus years. So normally what we would do is that we understand that you won't be able to get into the centre before the end of the year. What we would do is that we would contact the centre to say, this is our 2025 nominee, but the dates, you and the centre agree your dates for 2026 or thereafter. So the allocation is made from our budget in 2025. You sort out the dates with the Tyrone Guthrie Centre, and we're fully aware. We've been working with them for the last 20 years. And that is normally the way it works. So yeah, so that there's no issue around that at all. Sorry, you're on mute, then,
Yeah.
Carmel, or maybe I am. Sorry.
So can you apply for support? I've answered this, but just for everyone who, just in case they can't see it, can you apply for support for a residency at the Burn College opposed to courses and classes?
Yes.
Yeah, you can. Okay. And then regarding question 11, just in case you still have it open there, Siobhán, can you tick more than one box? I'm trying to pop into it now and see.
I've actually closed it, so I don't know if
I'll
you have
check
it
into
open.
that now. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
go into that.
Mhm.
Um, okay, what if you have to pay front for a course, e.g. College of Art?
Yeah, if that is the case, and if you're successful and come through with us and you've already paid for it, what we would do in that instance is that on proof of payment, if you supply that to us, we'll reimburse you directly on that.
Perfect.
But it is our preference, I suppose, just to say it is our preference to pay the courses or the course providers directly.
Yeah, and that's for all from the chat. I suppose the questions that we had in the emails, if you want to run
Yeah,
through them.
yeah, sure. If you want to call them out again.
Oh, actually, can you apply for more than one course workshop?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, grand. Yeah, that's from the chat.
But
So
sorry, just to clarify there, you can, but it would be the one application. So what I would say there is that we'll only accept one application per artist. So if you're looking to do two or three different courses or workshops, they all have to go into that one application and to be outlined within that one application.
okay. So some people sent in some questions beforehand, so we can just go through that now. I'll just get them up.
Yeah, I think we probably covered a lot of them.
Yeah, so what is the maximum amount of funding I can apply for?
Yeah, so that's the €500 and or the cost of the
Your
course or
or
the
your
event
time, yeah.
or your time. Yeah.
Um, so oh yeah, so I have a question. So yeah, so we talked about the Tyrone Guthrie Centre as well, so you can still apply for that through this.
Yeah.
Um, oh yeah, one question I had was, can we apply for 500 with the view of dividing between two aspects of our arts practice business? So allocate half for materials for the arts practice and half for mentoring.
Yes, no problem.
Yep, okay. And so this is for the community ones. Acceptances aren't out yet. My son has applied and a deposit paid for the Methiel, and we haven't confirmation yet.
Oh,
If
yeah,
the closing date was only last week, so in that case, if they get the if they get accepted there and they're successful with this award, then it balances each other out, type thing.
yes, yeah, yeah. Well, so I suppose we would pay Mehel directly for your son's participation if he's accepted into it. And we do understand that people are waiting on acceptance letters. So I suppose some of our offers will be contingent on you being accepted into the course, etc. But in that instance, yeah, we would pay the balance of what is outstanding directly to Mehel.
And then the last one, is it okay if there's other people, say if you're sending examples, if other people are in the video or the images, is that okay with regarding
Okay.
GDPR?
Yeah, so I suppose that's up to you really in terms of what information you submit to us, but just to reaffirm that the only people who would be viewing any videos or anything you submit to us would be the panel, and it would be going no further than that. So once you're comfortable with that, that you have sent in, that you're comfortable that what you've sent in would be acceptable to the others who are in the video, that's fine. And I suppose then again to mark clearly which one is your particular person who's applying, if it is a group, shall we say, just to be very clear that it's the second concertina player on the right or something like that.
And then this one is very specific. So for the last 4 years, I've created my own music-based radio show that I upload. I have talks about the average listenership. Um, I have guests from North Clare, West Clare, and create merchandise every year. There's a huge amount of creativity involved. Is this something I can apply for funding for?
Yeah, so basically that what we had spoken about, your sort of creative days, you'd be able to apply for funding for that. Yes, yeah,
Um,
to pay yourself for the work that you were doing.
yeah, and then talking about, I think we mentioned it already, about references for the younger groups, so we can get references from teachers, music teachers, etc.
Teachers,
Yeah.
drama teachers, yeah, school teachers if necessary. Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Yeah, I think there was a few more I saw popping into the chat there, Carmel. I don't know.
And let me see.
It came
Oh, a
in too
Avenue.
quickly for me to
Yeah.
see.
Okay. How much is the Tyrone Guthrie Centre residency worth?
Off the top of my head, I think it's worth somewhere between 4 to 500.
Oh
So we
yeah.
we only allocate a 1 week residency. I think it could be around €450. Yeah, whatever their standard rate is. And I also think it depends whether you're in the house or in the cottages. So, but it's in around that mark
So when will you let people know if their application was successful?
by
S-
the end of April.
By the end of April, yeah. Is it possible to apply for a course, equipment and a fee for yourself? So I think
Yes.
that's three things as such.
Yeah, yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. Can I apply for a maximum materials fee and time to pay myself, or are they both the same?
No, no, it would be both the same. So you could split that, we'll say that 500 allowance between materials and paying yourself, but you can't apply for twice, shall we say. So that it's capped at €500. How you want to spend that €500 is up to you.
Okay. What if one can't afford to pay up front for a course and are waiting to hear about the bursary?
Normally, what we would say is that, well, we will be letting people know by the end of April. So you'd kind of have to manage that yourself with whoever the course provider is by letting them know that you have applied for support, and you'll know by the end of April. Yeah, so that is a conversation between you and the course provider.
And just Emer has a helpful note just to say that Tyrone Guthrie also keep a waiting list so that if someone booked in had to withdraw and a person waiting can come in a short notice, they do contact people. So
Yeah,
that's another option.
yeah.
I think
Thanks,
that's
Emer.
it. And then it says another, I think was it Karen said that the cost of it was 490 for the Tyrone
Okay.
Guthrie Centre.
Yeah, sorry, I just don't have the information in front of me. Great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, that's it so far. Unless anyone else has anything, they can put up their hands.
So just there's another one popped in. So just to clarify again, the maximum amount that you can apply for overall is €500. The only differential to that would be that if there is a course or event that you are going to that costs more or less, we would consider those. But for an individual artist, the maximum amount that you can apply for is €500. So I just want to be very clear on that. But Carmel and I are here up until the closing date. So if anybody has any queries or if there's any difficulties with the application form or anything like that, you can certainly get back to us at arts@clarecoco.ie. And we'll also be out and about at our public arts council or our public arts plan consultations. So we're going to be in Shannon tomorrow evening from 5:30 to 7:30, and we're going to be in Ennistimon in the library there on Tuesday the 1st of April from 5:30 to 7:30 as well. So people are welcome to come along to that also. Okay. I think that's everything. So yeah, thank you all for giving up your time on a Wednesday morning, and hopefully you found it useful. I'd like to thank Carmel for pulling it all together as well. And we look forward to receiving your applications. Thank you all very much.
Thanks.